Hello, friends, and welcome to Season 3 of Hops and Hedges, the podcast where we talk about beer, landscaping, and everything in between. I'm your host, Heather Gerard from My Landscape Artist, and I am so glad you're here. Hops and Hedges is proudly sponsored by ext.tech, and you're going to want to stick around until the end of the show for an exclusive discount code to use for their powerful CRM software and mobile app. Now crack open a cold one, and let's dig in. There you go. With me today, all the way from Cedar City, Utah, is Holly Porter, serial entrepreneur for the last 40 years, and she's just recently incorporated her business, International Retreat Association. Holly, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Heather. Appreciate you having me.
I have to say, even before we start, I just love, you've got this bright, beautiful yellow sweater on, and I've got, my bright color
All about
scarf.
color.
All about the color. I love it. So what temperature is it right now for you in Utah?
I can tell you, but I have to look. Hang on. It's quick. D6, so not too cold.
I need to convert it.
How about you?
So it's 56. Okay, so that is 13 degrees Celsius for our Canadian listeners.
Okay.
And in London, Ontario, it is -7 Celsius, which is 19 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow, you can keep it. It was like almost 70 here yesterday.
Oh my goodness. I'm always interested when we have our southern neighbors on the show as to where are you? What's the temperature like? What's the weather like? Because here we have most people in, I would say, the province have 1 to 2 feet of snow. We're buried.
You just keep it there. My friend told me today it was 82 or something in Arizona yesterday.
Oh
I hate you.
Jeez. So, Holly, for those who are tuning in and who aren't familiar with you or your business or businesses, can you let our listeners know who you are, what do you do, and why are you so amazing?
I don't know if I'm so amazing, but hey, I defeated death about 4 years ago, so that's pretty amazing.
That's impressive. We're going to dig into that too.
Yeah, sure. So I've always been an entrepreneur. My parents were entrepreneurs, and this new company we just talked about is my 12th startup company, not counting all the little ones I helped my kids start and all that, but just literally from scratch. I love innovation. I love being early adapting to things, and some have been better than others, but I usually have anywhere from 2 to 4 at a time. So it's not like I just jump ship all the time and started something new, several for 20 years at least. So, but yeah, I've just loved the part of being in business, and it's stressful. I will say it's probably easier to go collect a paycheck every but it's okay. It's not my DNA.
Yeah, me neither. I hear you. I don't know how many times, entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart.
No.
So if for anybody listening who's not an entrepreneur, business owner, if you are comfortable enough and you like the security of that regular paycheck, you just keep on trucking, honey. Just keep on trucking, because what a shift it is to go from that to running the show. Because it's, not for the faint of heart. That is for sure. Holly, I love that you just said the term early adopter, how much you love innovation and that you consider yourself an early adopter. I'm just curious, and this is kind of a left field question, it's not on the questionnaire, but do you have AI as part of the conversation where you are in Utah for businesses? Every day? What kind of shifts are you seeing?
Yeah, I don't even go to Google anymore. I haven't for a long time. I just love new stuff, and so it's changing every day. It can be a little scary. I just saw a movie last night where they were, oh gosh, what was it called? It was about the AI a crime, like them when they commit a crime. Oh my gosh, I'll think of it in a minute, but it's one word and it starts with an M. I can't think of it. That's part of my long COVID stuff. Sorry. Apologies. But anyway, basically they catch them right away pretty much when they do their crime, because the AI gets all of your social media, all of your texts, everything, nothing's private. There's cameras everywhere, so they see everything. It's like the all-seeing eye. It's freaky. Anyway, and you have 90 minutes to prove your case to this AI judge. And the whole show literally was only like an hour and 40 minutes, and he had 90 minutes. And it pretty much was minute by minute to prove his case. And he was innocent, but he helped create the program.
Whoa.
It makes you really think. When we talk about AI, it makes you go, well, this really could happen. My husband and I were like, so you can see the good and the bad. And I said, wow, I'd have put attorneys out of business. You wouldn't even need attorneys anymore.
Right? And that's something for me too. I always think about or with AI specifically, I often think about the good and the bad. 'Cause
Yeah.
people I'll have a conversation with someone, they're like, "Oh, well, they're gonna see everything about you." And for me, my retort is, "I don't have anything to hide." And they're like, "Yeah, but that's your privacy should be your privacy." I'm like, "But
Yeah.
not if I'm gonna kill somebody." Like,
I know.
I don't know. So I'm so torn about the whole thing. Have
Knew from the beginning he probably didn't do it, so I'm not giving
Right.
that there is something I won't spoil that
Yeah, don't, 'cause I wanna see it. I don't even know what this
spoil
movie's
it,
about.
but it makes you think. It's like, "Oh." So,
I
yeah.
like the movies that make me think. So another kind of segue, because I had to look this up before we went on. So I see that you're in Cedar City, Utah. You are about 70 miles from the Bryce National Park. For us
Yeah.
in Canada, we measure that in time. So it's about an hour and a half drive. That's it. Have you
And I'm
been?
only 5 minutes from Zion National Park,
I don't know
which is
this
even
one.
a bigger park. Oh,
Zi-
it's more popular. Zion National Park is probably more popular than Bryce National
Okay,
Park.
I'm gonna figure that. So my
Yeah.
ultimate travel dream is to see Bryce National Park, Utah. I
Well,
saw a
go with the
picture.
Zion and you'll be, like, having to go to both now.
Okay, and what can
And
you
the
spell that
Grand
for me?
Canyon.
Sorry, what's
The
the
Grand Canyon's all within, like, a drive. All of them are
Yeah,
pretty
and
close.
it's Zina?
Zion, Z
Okay, I don't know why that has never come up for me, but
Yeah, don't either because it's more popular. You'll have
okay,
that on your bucket. You'll be on your bucket list, I
perfect.
promise.
I'll do all 3 then. I'll do the Grand Canyon,
Mhm.
Zion, and Bryce National Park.
Yeah, you'll
But I
have
was
to.
in grade 10 in a, biography class, and that instructor changed my life. You know how sometimes you just have a teacher that
Yeah.
changed your life? So shout out to Mr. Paul Moores. I'm
Right.
still in touch with him on Facebook, actually, but he was an instructor that really opened my eyes to culture and travel and the things that we have in common, not the things that make us different. And
Yeah.
he took us to places to explore and to connect with nature. And I think he really has inspired the person I've become and the woman I'm becoming. So,
Love that.
yeah, incredible
Okay,
man. So,
back up. Mercy is the name of that movie. So if you wanna go see
Mercy.
good sci-fi about AI, yeah,
Okay, I'm
Mercy.
gonna watch that with my hubby, and we'll put it in
That's
the
what they
pool.
call
We'll
the
see.
AI too. That was like
Mercy.
what they
Oh,
call
yeah, that's
Mercy.
kind of that gives me the jeebies, I think. I don't know. Oof,
Yeah.
okay. So on the questionnaire on the show, I love hearing people's mentorship stories. And so I'm always asking people either a mentor they'd like to shout out to, or if someone that you've mentored along the way, or if you're currently mentoring someone. You mentioned Eben Johnson. Can you tell us a little bit about Eben?
Yeah, and it's Eben for him
Eben,
anyway.
sorry, Eben.
Right? I know, let's get it right. He's worth mentioning. Yeah, so, I mean, I've mentored a lot of people over time too. Mentorship is really somebody giving you their time. A lot of times they're not charging for that, where coaching you're paying for. Not that all mentorship is free, but this was I paid tens of thousands of dollars for coaches that I've outgrown every one of them, which is a good challenge to have, yet, I gotta move fast, and it's like, "Okay, done, move on. Alright, I
Yep.
got what I needed, move on." Well, Evan came in my life when I had created Retreat R&R company that was a part of a company that came out of my near-death experience. And it was tech, and I had never had a tech company, so super shiny object for me. I was like, "Ooh, tech, SaaS
Yeah.
company." We still have not created that software because I need about another million to finish it and make it right.
Oof.
But for the last couple years, Evan and I would meet all the time once a week for a long time. We don't meet as much anymore. We're just kind of touching base, but he was amazing. And about the 3rd time, I really was like, "What's our exchange? What's our exchange?" Like, I didn't really have it in the budget at the time to hire him, and he wasn't looking for that necessarily, but I was just like, just the giving part of him. He would give me hours and hours of his time, and he was a brilliant, brilliant man. He is. He's not
Yep.
was. But he was a professor for 10 years at University of Colorado, and then he had lived out of the country most of his life, all kinds of life experience. So but just brilliant in what I needed to hear, and he had taught entrepreneurs these and he had sent me his slide decks for what he
Wow.
taught. It's just and then he never has tried to charge me anything, and I said, normally I wouldn't say this, I just wanna do it, and I'm still gonna do it when I can. I'm just gonna give him a big fat check one day, and he's just
Yeah.
gonna be surprised when he always tells me, "Well, when you go make your millions, like I know you will, then if you wanna throw me a bone, you can." That's all he's ever asked for, and, you know, he does charge for what he does because I think he's a great mentor for other people and especially companies before they go in and spend the big bucks. Because I had spent close to 200,000 before I met him on this whole company project and everything I was working on. And he just said there's so many things I could have done differently that wouldn't have cost me that. You don't know what you don't know. Everything's a learning experience. And so I definitely say, when you're out of your lane like I was, I knew entrepreneurship, but I didn't know tech.
Uh,
And I had some bad advice and I invested in some things that weren't productive. And so that's okay. Those are learning lessons. And Chuck, and he was just saying it at the time he showed up. And when we need it, we need the teacher, they do show up. You
they
believe
do.
that, it'll happen.
Yeah, there's certainly something about that, staying like your lane. Like we know, for example, you mentioned entrepreneurship. Like we know what we had to do, we know how we have to do the thing, and we know how to have to check off the boxes. But then you get to an aspect of your business where you're like, you're treading water and you're like, oh my gosh, like there's a weight on my feet and I'm getting dragged down. I need help. Right? There comes a point where it doesn't matter
Yeah.
how good of a swimmer you are. That concrete block is gonna drag you to the bottom, so you need to
Yeah.
wave or whistle or whatever you can and bring somebody over, get somebody else's attention because you just can't. You just can't, right? Get the experts to help you when you get those.
I say that. Well, no
Yep,
one does it alone. Anybody that is successful, if you ask them if if they don't have a huge ego, I mean, I don't know
right.
anyone that is successful that wouldn't say I did it alone or that would say I did it alone. I mean, everybody needs a leg up at some point, needs a help, needs to as part of my shift framework work that I teach in my book Shift, surrender is the first word. And
I love
that's
that.
that's what you have to do at some point, whether it's to your higher power, to your partner, to your spouse, to your boss, whatever it is, everybody needs to surrender and know, I can't do this alone. I need help.
Well, let's go right to your book, 'cause so the book is just it's called Shift or it's
It's called Near Death Shift.
Your Death Shift. It's a little bit more
Near death.
impactful. I apologize for saying it wrong. I see you do have a copy there with you. Are you able to reach it?
I
Can we
do.
see it a little bit closer? That's awesome. Near Death Shift. What
So,
dying taught me
it's
about
what
life.
dying taught me about life, business, and purpose.
Wow. And is this your first book?
No, it's actually there's 17 chapters because it's my 17th book, but they're not I was in anthologies as well. So, some are
Okay.
my own, some are anthologies, but I'm a numbers person. There's a lot of numbers to my story, and so
Yeah.
17 chapters for my 17th book, and it's a personal development and spiritual book combo.
Very cool. That sounds really interesting. It's interesting how numbers, if you pay attention, I find people either get it or they're into it or they're not. But if you pay attention, if you listen, and if you open your eyes, there are numbers that repeat for people. And it's
Yeah.
crazy. I have one right
Yep.
here. It's on my vision board. I'm going to take this right now.
Oh,
1111.
that's you're gonna love my book then.
Oh
I got
my
out of the
gosh.
hospital on 11/11. I launched my book on 11/11. My logo that was in my near-death story, when I got it back, it came back with 11 leaves and 11 roots on the tree. I mean, so yeah, no, I'm totally all about numbers. In fact, today I was speaking with my editor who I hadn't talked to for a while, so we were talking a long time, and we get off the phone and I look and we had been on, let's see, 1 hour and 11 minutes. 1111. I'm like, I screenshotted, I sent to her. I go, "Of course we were."
Yeah.
It's just like part of the story.
So great. I
Crazy.
don't know how many times I get into the car and I turn on the car and it's exactly 1111. Or,
Yeah.
I'm deep in focus work and I'll look up and it's 11:11. Like, it's just
It's a powerful number. Yeah.
powerful, very much. So, Holly, tell us about your book. How did your near death shift book? This is a big deal.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it kind of still is, but it's only because of the story behind it. So we don't have enough time for all of the near death
Yeah.
stories and crazy stuff that I experienced. But I was in the hospital for 70 days with COVID. I was intubated twice, had a trachea, sepsis. So the first 3.5 weeks, my husband had it. I brought it home from a conference and gave it to him, the Delta version. So he was about 2 days behind me in the journey, but he wasn't hospitalized. But I didn't get to see him for 3.5 weeks out of the 70 because he had COVID and they wouldn't let him in the hospital. I
Right.
did get one person every 24 hours to stay with me, which saved my life. So I was so grateful because, we all knew when you go on a ventilator what happens. I mean, total miracle that I walked out of there. But I had two twin sisters and a daughter mostly that just took 24-hour shifts and stayed with me. And the first 3.5 weeks before my husband came is when I had all my out of body a near death and a spiritual transformative experience. That's the book. The first part of my book tells kind of my back history and journey and stuff because it's quite interesting. And then it goes in and talks about the near death experience and the out of body ones that I had, which were crazy. Then the near or the spirit, let's see, spiritual near death. So they're STE, NDE, and OBE is what they're called. And I didn't even know for 2 years after the experience that they were even different. And so
Wow.
I knew, I had all these books, but I'd done. I think at that time I had 13 books 4 years ago. And I was like, I don't need any more books, right? That wasn't even in on my radar. And I knew as soon as I got out of the hospital, I had two more. And I was just like, really?
Yeah.
Two more? But none of them are this big and in depth. I mean, this is like, it's a lot.
Yeah.
They were all like ones, or I did a chapter in somebody else's. And so I knew I worked on it for a couple years. It actually sat for probably about a year and a half until this last year. I knew I had to finish it and get it done. And I knew 11/11 was the date. But what was cool is I had a working title for 2 years that was different. And
Huh.
all of a sudden, near death shift was it. Like there was a whole bunch of thought around it. Usually I could make decisions really quickly, and this one was not made quickly. Anyway, when I finally settled on it, I knew it was right. It wasn't even about the SHIFT acronym, that all came. So I knew I wanted to have a learning personal development book because that's who I am. And it was going to be like questions at the end of each chapter and journaling. And my editor's like, that sounds like work for people. Your story's too good. Let's figure out how we can separate it. And so the spiritual part of it is that while I was doing the book, the spiritual part of the book came to me. The shift was surrender, hope, intuition, faith, and transformation. So I used that model in all the personal development and all the shifts I made. Well, the funny thing was the last 8 chapters of the book. So it's in 2 parts, my story and all the experiences and then the learning from it. And we weave in other stories in there, but it's more about people in history around that. So the 8 chapters ended up being like a life wheel. I bet everybody's seen those before with different subjects on them. And I had created my own 5 years before called, I had these events in Las Vegas the called prosperity events. And this program was called 8 Means to Close the Gap to Prosperity. Well, there's your number, 8. And if you flip it on its side, it's the infinity. Well,
Yep.
that's what I had for the logo of this program. And the thing was, if any of those 8 are out of alignment, then there's a gap in the infinity and it can't flow, which means
Right.
your prosperity can't flow. So I never created the program. COVID hit, and then this is all the crazy story. And so I realized one day while I was writing the book, those were my 8 chapters. Those 8 things weren't made for that program. They were made for this book. And we use the SHIFT acronym around each one and we talk about it. And so like I would get chapters back from my editor and I literally felt like I was reading them for the first time. That's how much, I mean, God's my higher power, whatever that is for anyone else I respect. I was like reading it for the first time because God's hands was so much involved in that
Wow.
project that like, so grateful, I thought. And so I've loved, and I love when people message me because it just came out, November 11th, this last year, and say, "Oh my gosh, I stayed up all night reading your book," or "I read it in 2 days." And I'm like, "That's a 7-hour book." And it makes me feel so happy that, like, it meant that much to them. They kept reading because it kept their and I love that. And if it helps them, oh, that just makes me happy.
I love that about
Help
a
me.
book, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's a legacy that you leave. It's on a shelf somewhere for somebody to find it at the moment when they're ready to find
Mhm.
it. Like, there's just
Yeah.
something so powerfully cool
And
about
people
that.
are so fascinated with death. Who knew? Like I was never afraid of death. I'm definitely not now. But,
Right,
I didn't get the choice to come back. I got put back. And
right.
wasn't too happy about it because I probably would have stayed. I mean, who wants to come back here when you've been in somewhere heavenly?
Yeah,
It's like this world's not that great.
yeah. Jeez, and I can't wait. As soon as I was reading your pre-interview questionnaire, I have a friend locally I have to introduce you to. She's not been on the show yet, Jenna Goodhand,
Oh,
but she has a
well,
podcast, and it's like we're all dying, and
yeah,
it's just how temporary this is. Like, this existence
yeah.
is, how do we make it count? How do we influence the people that we meet every day that we might not ever see again, right? Like, these
But my
chance meetings.
You don't have to have a near death experience to truly live. You can choose today to truly live. You don't have to almost die to figure it out. I'm sure God put me in a coma that whole time so I would learn to listen because I probably
Hmm.
was off track and wasn't listening. And that was the only way is to sit me still long enough so that I had nowhere to go. I couldn't move.
Right. Oh my gosh,
But yeah.
I have not an experience anything similar like that. But for me, for COVID, I was suddenly let go from a job that I
Oh,
loved, that I thought I would be at forever. And I
oh
was
God.
so the term that I've often said is I had drunk the company Kool-Aid. I know that's not a really appropriate analogy, but it makes me laugh. Like I was so into giving this company everything I was, physically, mentally, spiritually. I was going to retire from them. I was going to be the best employer and employee manager they ever had. And then just like that, I was
Mm,
cut. And that to me was the kick in the butt from the universe. That was like,
yeah.
this is not your path.
Yeah.
This isn't who you're supposed to be giving this all to. There's other people waiting for you.
And then it's
So,
like, thank you for making that decision for me because I may
yep.
not have made it on my own.
I wouldn't have. I would have been there for a long time. I didn't realize how much tension and stress I had until
Oh,
I got through the grief. There was
yeah.
a portion of grief because I had lost the person who I
Yes.
was, my identity, right? Of who I thought I was. But through that,
Yeah.
discovered who I actually am. And oh my gosh, like just I'm so so grateful, so blessed that that's what happened. So incredible. So I've got something for you. So on the questionnaire, I always ask people what advice they would give someone, either in life or in business. And yours is so beautiful that I want to read it verbatim. Okay, Holly, if you
Okay.
don't mind. And then I'd love to
I don't
talk about it. So,
okay.
advice for in life, this is what you wrote. Trust your intuition, especially when the path is unclear. Do hard things with courage. Stay curious. And remember that resilience is built one choice at a time. Life moves fast. So, relationships, health, and purpose matter more than perfection. Like,
Mm.
that's beautiful. Nailed it.
Well, thank
Nailed it. Do you have any additional comments on that? I mean, it's pretty gold.
I mean, do things scared. I think that's really important. If you have peace about everything that you're doing, how are you going to grow? How are you going to take that leap if you already have a good feeling about everything? You're going to stay stagnant.
Yeah.
You'll feel
I have,
good.
oh,
but
yeah. I am a big believer that you are not growing unless you're uncomfortable. It's through being
Yeah.
uncomfortable is when you're growing. Growing is not comfortable.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in landscaping. I've
Right.
seen trees grow and they crack and they get brittle and their limbs stretch and they break and it is not a comfortable process, but
No.
it is necessary. So, I love that. Do things
Yeah.
scared, right?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like with my association we just created, I'm right in the beginning of it. And it's like, oh, again, you forget
Yeah.
how much work's involved when you start something new. And then I'm starting something new that doesn't even exist. So
Oh my
that's
gosh.
exciting for me, but it's also like, it is scary because it's like, oh, are people going to like it? Or they like, I know it's needed. It's a $363 billion industry.
Yeah.
It's needed.
And we're
But
certainly going to talk about this in a second because what you're doing is pretty awesome. So we are going to talk about that. But I also want to read verbatim your advice for business because
okay.
it is also just so good. And I want to make sure that we don't miss it. So, your advice for anyone in business is start before you feel ready and focus on solving real problems. Build relationships before revenue, systems before scale, and trust before transactions. Stay flexible, listen closely, and do not be afraid to pivot. Sustainable success comes from alignment, not shortcuts. Like,
So,
Holly, it's like you're a writer or something.
well, it sounded way better written down with you reading it than in my head or what I would have said off the cuff. So thanks for reading it.
Absolutely. And I love this. Start before you're ready. This was something it's come up before that, ready is a choice. If a lot of
Yeah.
people say, well, we're not going to have kids until we're ready. We're not going to do this until we're ready.
My
But
dad
at
always
some
said that
point,
with kids. He's
you
like, "You'll
know,
never have kids if you wait till you're ready." Right.
like at some point, you just need to
So,
say, you know what, I'm going to decide to be ready and take the leap. Do the thing. Do it scared, but just start,
mm,
right? My gosh,
yeah.
I just love it. Um, so
Like,
many things. What's that?
just like Nike, just do it.
Just do it. Just do it. And I think they changed their motto now, but I forget what it
Did they?
is.
Oh, I
I
don't
think they did,
you can
but
tell I'm old.
I just know it as just do it. So I thought
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
very
yeah.
effective. So I do want to go into a couple things. So first, I'd like to cheers to you of just becoming incorporated. But bam. So cheers to you. We've got Utah water here. Cheers. And we've got some Canadian buble. I still don't know if it's bubbly or buble, but I always say bubbly. Cheers to Michael
I
Bublé.
don't know. All right.
So your business, let's talk about this because this is so cool. So can you tell us what is the service that you're providing that, you said nobody's doing it. So what are you doing?
Yeah, thanks, Heather. Oh my gosh, you're gonna see me get excited now. So I have another company called Retreat R&R. That was the software, like an Airbnb build booking and hosting site for retreats. Okay, not built yet. There's also a real estate piece of that because I am a real estate broker of 20 years now. So that being said, I have a concierge service where we do retreats. So I've been all involved in retreats for the last 5 years. I mean, more than that, but I mean like this company. Well, while I was writing my book, see, go do something scared. I was writing my book and I was in this great spiritual place. That's where the idea came. So it literally just came to me last fall. And I was really in the editing stages of my book. And I just was like, really? I do not need another company. And I was like, I'm good. I'm good. We also have a nonprofit that came out of my near death thing. So like I was good. I just didn't need that. And I was like, I was like, okay, I went down the rabbit hole, did a bunch of research, realized that there's not one. There was like one Christian one in the UK, but it's not the same. So associations, what they do is they like create professional standards and values for that organization, for that ecosystem, so to speak. So say it's like a triangle and an association would sit like at the top of the triangle and everything in the ecosystem underneath it. So anybody that teaches retreats, coaching, travel agencies, attorneys that work with travel, anything like that to do with that would be under, like they'd want to be a member of an association to be
Right.
part of that. Well, nothing's governing it right now. I mean, how we're going to govern it's going to be interesting, right? I mean, there's a process to this. Members vote. Well, in the beginning, we don't have members. So I'm working now. I'm creating this totally different than any other business I've ever done.
Hmm.
And there's a leadership council that I'm bringing together with the top leaders of the industry that I've identified. It's a short list. I only want 8 to 12 to even join it. And we will work together and create all this. The first quarter still my goal to open up membership, but membership, you'll like this. Membership will be $111 for the whole year. A
Love
super
that.
easy yes for someone to come in and join. Founding membership, $444. They're all good numbers. So we'll have 100 founding members that'll be part of it, and then a basic membership affordable for anyone. So that's kind of the plan. And we're just starting conversations with people with the leadership council for one. I've gotten great feedback from people that I have mentioned to. I've had to keep it a little bit on the down low until we had it incorporated because, there's not one. And I thought, gosh, I don't want to like stop everything I'm doing over here to go create something that someone else is doing right. I'd rather
Right.
support. So now all my competition, all the other software providers, all the other people doing these things over here that were potentially competition to Retreat R&R. Come on, let's
Yeah.
collaborate, let's build. We'll support all of that. We're not about competition. We're about, let's see, we're not about competing. We're about completing.
I
It's bring
love
everyone
that.
together under one roof, but it's making people understand what an association actually does because a couple people I've talked to, they're thinking that like their coaching or their membership, oh, well, we're already doing that. They don't understand an association's totally different than that. That's an ecosystem for a lot of the same people, but it's really
Right.
for like income everyone in the ecosystem.
Yeah. And it's a great thing to get everybody under one roof or one umbrella, as you would say. So, like here in Ontario,
Right.
we have, I'm a member of Landscape Ontario. So that's something that I talk about
Okay.
often. But this association is for professional, like landscape professionals, whether
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
turf, whether you're in brick and stone, whether you're doing patios or
Right.
pools
Anything.
or cutting grass. Did I say that already? I don't even know. But like
No.
all of us, we all fall under this same
Yeah.
canopy, right? And
Yeah.
it's not about competition. Sometimes it is. There's healthy
Yeah.
competition, but
Right.
we have so much we can share and learn from each other. And one of the biggest
Mhm.
lessons I've taken away from the association, Landscape Ontario, is they often talk about coming to an event So you are one person at a table with 8 other people. And if
Yeah.
you share one idea, you are going to go home with 8 new ideas and you just gave away one of yours.
Right.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
And there's this it's not about me versus them. It's about us,
Yeah.
making the general public aware that we are professionals and we are educated in what we are doing. We're not just some couple of people with a pickup truck that want to, cut your grass. There's more to it. There's more to it.
Yeah. And that goes back to what I said earlier about build relationships before the revenue. Build that collaboration and people that are worried about the competition. To me, it's like this. I had a salon and spa for 20 years and I was in a pretty small town, which actually I'm in right now. That's where I'm at in Cedar City. And every time I moved 4 times in 20 years, the locations, and because I'd get bigger, till I wanted to get smaller. Then I went really small. And then I moved. But my goal was, let's put another salon in my location because I've already done the hard work. I've already done the build out and everything's here. And if some of my customers don't follow me, okay, maybe they just like that location. It was like
Yeah.
there's not for everybody. And it was just like, I don't live in that lack. For me, there's always, I mean, no, the retreat industry is $363 billion by 2029. In 2024, it was $226 billion. So it's going to grow that much. And if anything, COVID's taught us is that we want community and we want to get out and we want to do more with people where we actually see eyeball to eyeball. And I mean, Zoom's great and all, actually touching people, hugging people, not for those non-huggers, but
Right.
you know, it's important that we learn and have these communications and relationships. Is so important in person.
Absolutely. I'm all for do you know the importance of connecting people, connecting people to nature, right? Connecting people to themselves and connecting to each other. Like there's so much magic that can happen if we look for connections
Yeah,
instead of, the missing pieces, right? It's that looking for or coming from
absolutely.
that place of abundance rather than lack. My gosh, yeah,
The
everything you're
energy's
saying.
so much better.
Yeah, and
Amen.
I was a big hugger pre-COVID, and I have noticed that that's changed a bit for me too. But I think too who I was pre-COVID was somebody who was comfortable in a job and I was this person. And now I do feel like as an entrepreneur that I am a little bit more protected in some ways, which is interesting.
Too, but mostly because I don't want to get people. I don't want people to get me sick. I mean, I've
Right.
long COVID, and it's like a real thing for me. They're like, you can't get it again. You'll die. It's like, why sit and say what hurts me? I mean, I'm not going to dare anything.
Yep.
It was real
Nope.
for me. Yeah, I'm a
Absolutely.
little
And it's real and it's good that you share your story because so many people were like, "Oh, COVID, or it wasn't that big of a deal, or,
or it didn't exist.
or that." Oh my goodness.
And I'm on it. I'm like, how do you tell someone like me that never was sick, that just spent 70 days in the hospital,
On a
intubated,
ventilator. It's
it
COVID.
wasn't real? I'm like, what was it then?
Oh boy. Yeah, that would be a difficult conversation for sure.
You're
Um,
stupid.
yeah. Right? Oh my gosh, so many different things. There's so many different things that I want to talk to you about. But something too, we are coming up to the end of our hour together. So I wanted to ask you, I'm a bit of a book collector, not a hoarder, a collector. And you
Okay.
mentioned a book that I'm not familiar with. This book is called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Can you talk
Oh.
about this book?
Okay, that book made me crash my car,
Oh
and I am
no.
blaming it because I'm certified in hypnosis, so I know how that works.
Okay.
That's how powerful that book was. I was literally hypnotized. How I crashed it was really dumb. I pulled up at my friend's in Las Vegas, a gated community that was really old, and so I had to get out of my car to go and push in the buttons on the opposite side of the car and then get
Ah,
back in the car. So I go to get out and I started to step out and I realized my car, I didn't put it in park. It was still in drive. It wasn't rolling, but it was like, so
yep.
I stuck my foot on the gas, and then when I did that, my brain went, "Brake!" So I hit the gas harder.
Harder.
I plowed through this gated community, broke it was like probably
Oh no.
$30,000 down, totaled my front end of my car. It was so crazy, but I realized I actually went back. I was listening to the CD of Outwitting the Devil, and I literally grabbed my book, physical copy, and went and found where I was and read how powerful that was. I was literally in a trance. But it's kind of a scary book. It's like one I'd read all the time over once a year. It's a great one of those. So any of the Napoleon Hill books, Think and Grow Rich, everybody knows that book. So
Okay.
this one was written by Napoleon Hill. His wife would never let him publish it until after he died. Or no, after she died, excuse me, after she died,
Whoa.
because it was so powerful. It is so it's basically him talking to the devil, having full-on conversations, and if you listen to it, it is you will be freaked out at how it parallels. I mean, this is written, I don't even remember when it was written. I'll bet like in the 40s. So when you
Holy.
listen and it's like feels like modern day stuff. It's almost like Nostradamus stuff, like where they predict the future. It's tricky. It's yeah, you got to read it or at least get it on
Okay.
Audible. It's Audible's good because the voices are there and they're the
Right on
devil's a
Audible?
really good one.
Yeah, that would
Oh,
be
yeah.
be a little bit more powerful, I think, hearing the audio. Yeah, it was written in,
Yeah,
1938.
there you go. Yeah, so Sharon Lecter, who's a friend of mine, she wrote it. She, like, compiled everything together. After he died, the Napoleon Hill Foundation released it to let her finish, doing things, and she did, Think and Grow Rich for Women. Like, she's done a lot of those books, been involved
Huh,
with Think and Grow Rich, so they're good. She's a great writer. Anyway,
okay. I will be looking that up for sure.
and then I want feedback from you.
Okay, yeah, it's on my
It's
list
powerful.
because that
So
sounds
powerful.
that sounds interesting. I'm
I actually
curious.
made her a testimonial because I was like, "Oh my gosh, this she's gonna eat this up," and it kept not working, and I finally got frustrated and didn't finish it and never sent it to her, but I thought, "Why didn't it work?"
Yeah,
Outwitting the
sometimes,
devil.
right? Very interesting. So we're coming up to time, but I love this, something you wrote with a really good joke to share. Do you remember what you wrote?
A joke. Let's see. Probably about something about trusting intuition. Something.
Yeah, it
Did I?
was. Yep.
Okay.
So you wrote because I asked people if they have a good joke to share, and this is what you wrote. You said, "My business plan was simple: work hard, trust my intuition, then Google the rest."
Which now I would say ChatGPT.
Now ChatGPT. So it's amazing how quickly that stuff is changing, right?
Yeah.
So instead of
Yeah.
Google it, just chat it. I think
That
that's
I
I don't know if
know.
that's the slang or not. Just chat it.
It is. I hear it all the time, and I say it all the time. I put it on my husband's phone, my friends that don't know, I'm like, "Oh, let me show you," and I download it. I'm like, "This is much easier to get any answer you need." Now you have to verify, they're not always right, but
Yep. I've also been going down that rabbit hole of ChatGPT, helping me with business, streamline services, review my website,
yeah,
come up with like documents where I'm like, okay, I
mm,
know I need to write this. Here are the points. Like, here's the information, but can you format it? I don't want to format it.
yeah,
You do it, and it'll do it. So, anyway, Holly, it has been such a blast talking with you here from Southwestern Ontario. You're in Utah. It's 2 p.m. Well, I guess now 3 p.m. where you are. It's 5 p.m. here where I'm at. But I appreciate seeing the sunshine in your sweater and in your face and in your smile.
speak
It's
for it.
been an absolute awesome conversation. And I just wish you all the very best with your business and your association. So I can't wait to see what comes from that.
Okay, appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Holly, and I will see you around. Cheers. That brings us to the end of this week's episode of Hops and Hedges, hosted by me, Heather Gerard of My Landscape Artist. Now, before you go, here's a quick word from our sponsor, ext.tech. In today's fast-paced world, landscaping businesses need modern tools to keep up with constant change, and that's where EXT comes in. EXT is transforming how landscaping, snow removal, and construction companies manage their operations. Using streamlined client management, real-time financial insights, and a modern mobile app your team will actually enjoy using. And with flat-rate pricing, there are no surprises, just clarity and control. If you're ready to revolutionize and grow your landscaping business, visit ext.tech to learn more. For additional savings, use the code HOPS10 at checkout, or just tell them that Heather sent you.